Picture this: a tiara, created for a royal wedding, vanishes for 22 years. It wasn't seen at auctions, nor did it grace any exhibitions. After a high-profile, scandalous divorce, the world concluded it had been secretly sold off to cover mounting debts. But what if this tiara, one of Queen Elizabeth II's most personal gifts, never actually left the family? What if its disappearance is just one chapter in an astonishing story that began with a brazen deception right at the altar? Mid-80s Britain still basked in the glow of one grand fairy tale, the wedding of Prince Charles and Lady Diana Spencer. The public yearned for new romantic sagas, and when the Queen's second son, the charming and freewheeling Prince Andrew, announced his engagement to the vivacious, red-haired Sarah Ferguson, the nation held its breath, anticipating another magnificent celebration. Their romance was a whirlwind, their happiness palpable, and it seemed the House of Windsor was finally embracing a fresh, vibrant, and modern countenance. Behind the scenes, however, as preparations for the wedding, slated for July the 23rd, 1986, ramped up, a delicate matter of immense protocolary significance emerged. By the unwritten tenets of the aristocratic world, a prince's bride was expected to enter Westminster Abbey with her head crowned by a family tiara, a potent symbol of her lineage and legacy. But Sarah Ferguson, a woman from a respectable family, yet without a title or substantial inherited wealth, simply possessed no such heirloom. This wasn't merely the absence of an accessory, it was a gaping void in the symbolic landscape of her burgeoning new status. It was at this juncture that Queen Elizabeth II made a decision imbued with subtle symbolism and profound personal warmth. Instead of offering her daughter-in-law a tiara from the state coffers, as was often the custom, she opted for a truly lavish and significant gesture. The monarch commissioned a brand new, unique tiara for Sarah as a personal wedding gift from herself and Prince Philip. This gesture extended a cherished family tradition. Her own mother-in-law, Queen Mary, had once gifted her a tiara for her wedding. Now, Elizabeth was passing this baton forward, welcoming a new woman into the very heart of her family. The commission wasn't placed just anywhere, but with the veritable holy of holies of British jewellery artistry, the House of Garrard. Since 1843, Garrard had proudly held the distinguished title of official crown jeweller, crafting and maintaining the monarchy's most iconic jewels. Entrusting them with a new tiara meant more than simply ordering a piece of adornment. It was about inscribing a fresh chapter into the dynasty's glittering jewelry chronicle. This sent an unmistakable signal to the world. The Duke of York's wedding was an event of paramount state importance, and his bride merited nothing short of the absolute finest. The vision was simultaneously simple and ambitious: to forge not merely an ornament, but a future heirloom that would form the cornerstone of the new Duchess of York's jewelry collection, passed down through generations. Diamonds from the Queen's personal collection were utilized in its creation, lending the gift even deeper sentimental value. The design, it is believed, was developed in close collaboration with the clients. It's entirely plausible that both Sarah and Prince Andrew themselves participated in approving the sketches, striving to create something contemporary, elegant, and perfectly suited to the future Duchess's vibrant persona. Upon receiving such a monumental commission, the jewelers at the House of Garrard crafted not merely a diadem, but a veritable sculpture of light and platinum. The York tiara stands as an epitome of elegance and understated opulence, where no single element screams its worth, yet collectively they orchestrate a symphony of sparkle. Its foundation is a lightweight yet sturdy platinum framework, an almost invisible skeleton supporting all the diamond magnificence. The choice of platinum was no accident. This noble metal best accentuates the cool, pure radiance of diamonds without introducing extraneous color tones. The heart of the composition, its conceptual anchor, is a substantial, classically brilliant cut diamond, crowning the tiara's central peak. Weighing approximately 5 carats, it serves as the focal point from which the entire design emanates, like ripples across water. This stone isn't just the largest in the piece, it's a dazzling flash that gathers light and attention before allowing the gaze to gracefully glide along the intricate curves. From this central sun, gossamer platinum ribbons fan out in every direction, weaving into an intricate yet harmonious pattern of leaves and floral scrolls. The tiara's design draws on botanical motifs, but it's not a literal depiction of flowers. Rather, it's a fantastical interpretation of a climbing vine. Garrard's jewelers masterfully play with volume. The scrolls sometimes ascend, creating dynamic peaks, and other times gently descend, forming elegant arches. This is no heavy, monumental crown of the past, but a light, almost ethereal wreath frozen in metal and stone. To achieve the effect of unbroken luminescence, the artisans employed the intricate pavé technique. This French word, meaning pavement or to pave, perfectly encapsulates the essence of the process. Hundreds of minuscule diamonds are set so close to one another that the metallic foundation becomes virtually invisible. The result is a continuous, shimmering surface that appears to breathe light with the slightest movement. Every scroll, every leaf of the tiara is blanketed in this diamond dust, transforming the piece into a single, living organism. But the York tiara's chief secret, like many other masterpieces of high jewelry, lies in its ingenious transformation. Its upper elements, the largest scrolls, could be delicately detached from the base, and when linked together, convert into a magnificent necklace. This multifunctionality was more than a mere technical flourish. It was a hallmark of the piece's supreme class. The tiara could be reserved for the most formal occasions, while the necklace offered a stunning option for less formal evening events, granting its wearer greater versatility to enjoy the gift. The culmination was a treasure that perfectly mirrored the spirit of the 1980s and Sarah's own character. Modern, dynamic, and devoid of excessive pomp. This wasn't merely a collection of precious stones, but a meticulously conceived work of art. One can only imagine the first time she felt its pleasant weight on her head, the cool touch of platinum, and saw in the mirror how thousands of facets came alive, transforming her into a true princess from a new contemporary fairy tale. The morning of July the 23rd, 1986. Millions of eyes worldwide were glued to television screens. London streets teemed with a jubilant crowd, eager to witness a new royal fairy tale unfold. As the glass coach, drawn by a pair of Windsor grey horses, paused at the gates of Westminster Abbey, everyone held their breath. Sarah Ferguson emerged, and at that very moment, a murmur of astonishment rippled through the crowd, instantly amplified by television commentators. The bride wore a magnificent ivory satin gown, her fiery red hair swept into an elegant updo, but instead of the anticipated diamond tiara, her head was crowned with a lush wreath of fresh flowers. Large, fragrant gardenias, Prince Andrew's favorite blossoms, gleamed white against her vibrant hair. It was a bold, almost rebellious gesture. The press and public immediately wondered, what did this signify? A rejection of tradition? A nod to simplicity and nature? Or had the Queen, after all, not gifted her daughter-in-law a tiara? Intrigue was expertly sown at the most pivotal moment. Within the ancient walls of the Abbey, under the gaze of all of British aristocracy and representatives from Europe's royal houses, Sarah Ferguson pledged her vows. The moment the Archbishop of Canterbury declared them husband and wife, she ceased being Miss Ferguson and became Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of York. A formal, legal transformation had occurred, enshrined in centuries-old rituals. But the true visual coronation was still to come. The most dramatic moment unfolded when the newlyweds, the Duke and Duchess of York, emerged onto the Abbey steps. The wreath of gardenias was gone. In its place, dazzling brilliantly under the July sun, shone the York tiara. Thousands of diamond lights sparkled in her hair, signaling the birth of a new star in the royal family. It was a masterfully choreographed spectacle. Sarah had entered the church as a commoner, adorned with flowers, but exited as a full-fledged member of the royal dynasty, crowned with diamonds. The reaction was immediate and ecstatic. Newspapers the next day were awash with headlines, not only praising the tiara's beauty, but also the new duchess's wit and theatricality. This move transformed a simple unveiling of jewelry into a genuine event. It wasn't just a display of preciousness, it was a narrative of transformation, a transition from one status to another, played out before the eyes of the entire world. Thus, in a single instant, the York tiara ceased to be merely an expensive gift. It became a legend, a symbol of one of the most vibrant and discussed weddings of its era. Its debut was not just triumphant, it was thoughtful and unforgettable. The piece wasn't simply worn, it was revealed to the world, and from that very moment, it acquired its own unique history, inextricably linked to the character of its first owner. Following the spectacular wedding, the York tiara entered its own golden age. It wasn't relegated to a safe until the next special occasion. On the contrary, it became an integral part of the new Duchess's working wardrobe. In the late 80s, Prince Andrew and Sarah were one of the most popular and photographed couples in the world, embodying the young and glamorous generation of Windsors. And at every state banquet, every official reception where protocol demanded maximum formality, the York tiara gleamed on its wearer. It became the Duchess's faithful companion during her numerous overseas tours. One of the most striking moments was a visit to Canada in 1987. At an official dinner in Ottawa, Sarah appeared in an elegant evening gown, and above her famous red hair rose the familiar diamond sparkle. At that moment, the tiara was more than just an ornament. It was a symbol of the British monarchy on the international stage, a mark of respect for the host nation and visual confirmation of the Duchess's high status. Photographs from that evening circulated worldwide, cementing the tiara's status as one of the most recognizable pieces of jewelry of its time. What's truly remarkable is how flawlessly the tiara's design harmonized with Sarah's own image and personality. Unlike many historic, often weighty and occasionally cumbersome diadems from the royal treasury, the York tiara was light, graceful, and thoroughly modern. It didn't overwhelm its wearer. Instead, it accentuated her energy and vibrant spirit. For the public, who affectionately dubbed the Duchess Fergie, this tiara became her signature. It was as bright and dynamic as Sarah herself, and in the eyes of millions, they became utterly inseparable. This tiara was more than just a ceremonial accessory. It was a personal gift from her mother-in-law, the Queen herself, imbuing it with profound significance. Sarah wore it with evident delight and pride. It became a pivotal element of her evening ensembles, perfectly complementing the opulent necklaces and earrings that were also among her wedding presents. In the official portraits from those years, we see a self-assured young woman, a member of one of the world's most powerful families, with the diamond diadem serving as the flawless culmination of this image. For nearly a decade, from 1986 until the mid-90s, the York tiara made regular public appearances, becoming a silent testament to Sarah Ferguson's meteoric ascent to global renown. It witnessed the glittering ballrooms of Buckingham Palace, the dazzling flashbulbs of Hollywood, and the reverent bows of world leaders. During this brief but brilliantly vibrant period, the tiara and its wearer were inextricably linked, a symbol of a new, more modern and accessible monarchy, brimming with hope and promise. Yet the fairy tale, which began with such dazzling promise, proved surprisingly fleeting. The sparkle of the York tiara soon began to contrast sharply with the gathering storm clouds over its owner's marriage. Prince Andrew's frequent and prolonged absences, stemming from his Royal Navy duties, left the young Duchess isolated and alone. She desperately tried to conform to the rigid confines of palace protocol, but her vibrant and spontaneous nature constantly clashed with centuries-old traditions. The press, initially adoring Fergie, shifted its tone to one of sharp critique, scrutinizing her every move under a microscope. The point of no return arrived in August of 1992. While the Duchess was vacationing in the south of France, Paparazzi captured a series of scandalous images that swiftly circulated worldwide. These photographs, splashed across British tabloids, detonated like a bombshell, delivering a devastating blow to the reputation of not only Sarah, but the entire royal family. For Queen Elizabeth, who would later famously label that year her annus horribilis, a horrible year, this incident became the final straw. The public humiliation rendered any reconciliation impossible. Shortly thereafter, their separation was officially announced, followed by their divorce in 1996. Stripped of her Royal Highness title and a stable financial standing, Sarah Ferguson found herself in an exceedingly precarious position. She retained the title of Duchess of York, but was now compelled to earn her own living. The ensuing years were marked by a turbulent succession of financial peaks and valleys, high-profile commercial ventures, and, regrettably, mounting debts that became widely reported in the press. Her name became synonymous not only with royal glamour, but also with notorious financial woes. It was precisely at this juncture that the pivotal rumor emerged, enveloping the York tiara in a shroud of mystery for years to come. The public and journalists alike pondered a logical question. If the Duchess faced such dire financial straits, why wouldn't she sell her jewels? Her most valuable personal asset was that very tiara, a wedding gift from the Queen. The theory of its clandestine sale through a Swiss jewelry dealer seemed not just plausible, but the only conceivable explanation. This theory accounted for the ornament's sudden disappearance from public view and allowed people to believe the Duchess had found a way to resolve her difficulties. And here, it is absolutely critical to separate fact from conjecture. It is historically documented that the marriage dissolved, the scandal transpired, and the financial struggles were all too real. It is also a fact that after the divorce, the tiara virtually ceased to make public appearances. But the tale of its sale, recounted for nearly 20 years, remained merely a beautiful and logical legend. No evidence, no auction records, no official confirmations ever surfaced. The York tiara simply vanished, transforming from a symbol of love into an object of speculation and whispers. The official divorce, finalized in May of 1996, drew a definitive line under an entire era. For Sarah Ferguson, this meant the loss not only of her marital status, but also of the official role that entitled her to wear such magnificent jewels. State banquets, formal receptions, and international tours became relics of the past. Along with them, the York tiara faded from public view. The curtain had fallen. For the diamond diadem, crafted for brilliance and admiration, a long, quiet night had begun. Its life in the shadows was the polar opposite of its dazzling debut. Instead of the flash of cameras and the glow of palace chandeliers, the silent darkness of a safe deposit box. Instead of crowning a coiffure before the world's gaze, a serene repose in a velvet case. For the public, this disappearance was tantamount to a loss. The ornament, which had symbolized one of the most talked-about weddings of the decade, simply evaporated, leaving behind only memories and glossy magazine photographs. It was this informational vacuum that spawned the most enduring myth, one that lived and thrived for 2 decades, the myth of the sale. In the eyes of a public closely following the Duchess's financial roller coaster, this was the sole logical explanation. Newspaper columns and society gossips spun an entire drama. A desperate Duchess, forced to part with her mother-in-law's most cherished gift to settle her debts. This narrative was so compelling that, over time, it came to be regarded as an undeniable truth. There was, admittedly, one moment that could have shattered this legend. In 2001, Sarah Ferguson appeared wearing the York tiara at Elton John's Tiaras and Tuxedos charity ball. It was a brief, almost fleeting glimmer, which, however, failed to sway public opinion. In the pre-ubiquitous internet and social media era, this event garnered little widespread attention and was soon forgotten. After that evening, the tiara vanished again, this time for an even longer, deafening silence. ultimately convincing the world that it had left the family forever. And then, just as the world had finally resigned itself to the idea that the York tiara was lost forever, history took an unexpected and magnificent turn. It was June 1st, 2023. In Amman, the capital of Jordan, one of the year's most opulent events was unfolding, the wedding banquet of Crown Prince Al Hussein and Princess Rajwa. Representatives from royal houses across the globe converged for the celebration, and each arrival was an event. But one particular entrance created an absolute sensation. Among the guests was the elder daughter of the Duke and Duchess of York, Princess Beatrice. When she appeared at the banquet, connoisseurs and admirers of royal jewels gasped. Adorning her hair, sparkling with 1,000 lights, rested that very legendary York tiara. This was no mere return. It was a triumph. Like a ghost from a glittering past, the ornament, believed to have been sold and irrevocably lost, reappeared to the world, and not on just anyone, but on the direct heiress of its creators. The reaction on social media and in the press was instantaneous and explosive. The myth, painstakingly built over 2 decades, crumbled in a single moment. It turned out that Sarah Ferguson, despite all the financial tempests, had safeguarded her former mother-in-law's most precious gift. She had preserved it not for herself, but for her daughters. This revelation completely altered the perception of both the Duchess and the tiara's history. She emerged not as a victim of circumstances forced to sell off the past, but as a wise guardian who had protected a family legacy. A profound rebirth in meaning also occurred for the ornament itself. If, on Sarah, it was the tiara of a vibrant, at times scandalous duchess, a symbol of 80s glamour, then on Princess Beatrice's head, it acquired a new, deeper status. Now, it was no longer merely Fergie's tiara, but a genuine family heirloom, the York tiara in the fullest sense of the phrase. Its appearance on her daughter became a symbol of continuity, family loyalty, and an unbreakable bond between generations that proved stronger than divorces and scandals. This appearance at the Jordanian wedding marked the culmination of a long saga. It demonstrated that the tiara's provenance, its history of ownership, was impeccable and unbroken for even a single day. This fact instantly multiplied its value many times over. Now, to the cost of platinum and flawless diamonds, an invaluable capital was added, the astonishing story of its disappearance and triumphant return. The tiara, having survived oblivion, had returned to the world stage to begin a new chapter, even more brilliant than the last. Today, the York tiara isn't gathering dust in a state treasury or displayed behind impenetrable glass in a museum. Its fate has proven far more personal and poignant. It remains in the private possession of the Dukes of York family, continuing to be a living, rather than archived, part of their legacy. Its guardian all these years has been Sarah, Duchess of York, and its triumphant return on Princess Beatrice clearly defined the tiara's new role. It is a dynastic relic, destined for future generations of women in this branch of the House of Windsor. Its current status transcends mere accessory for formal outings. Having endured scandals, divorce, and 2 decades of oblivion, the York tiara has transformed into a historical artifact. It has become the physical embodiment of a remarkable human story, one of love, disappointment, resilience, and ultimately the indomitable power of family ties. Now, it is not Fergie's tiara, but the York family treasure, a symbol of continuity passed from mother to daughter, proving that personal connections can be more enduring than royal protocols and public opinion. Estimating its monetary value today is virtually impossible, as it comprises several unique factors. First, there's its material worth. Flawless diamonds of the highest quality from Queen Elizabeth II's personal collection and the masterful craftsmanship of the Garrard jewelry house. Second, its unrivaled provenance. It is a personal wedding gift from a reigning monarch, placing it among the most significant jewelry pieces of the 20th century. But its greatest capital is its story. It is precisely the legend of its birth, disappearance, and miraculous return that elevates it from a very expensive piece of jewelry to a priceless cultural object. Any auction house in the world would confirm that such stories are worth more than the largest diamonds. The York Tiara is a rare instance where the value of the narrative it carries far surpasses the cost of the metal and stones from which it is made. So, what truly happened to the York Tiara during those long 22 years? The answer we finally received proved far more poignant and profound than even the wildest conjectures. It wasn't sold to settle debts. It was safeguarded to preserve a story. Despite all the rumors and financial storms, Sarah Ferguson performed a quiet yet incredibly significant act. She protected her daughter's heritage, refusing to turn a symbol of her past life into a mere transactional commodity. And therein lies the profound takeaway from this remarkable saga. The York Tiara is far more than a mere masterpiece of jewelry. It is a physical embodiment of human passions cast in platinum and diamonds. Within its cool sparkle, one can trace the hopes of a young bride, the triumph of a brilliant duchess, the sting of public scrutiny, and the quiet dignity of a woman determined to safeguard what truly mattered to her. Its narrative isn't a mere chronicle of precious stones. Instead, it's a testament to human emotion, proving a simple truth. The most invaluable things in life often come without a price tag. The tiara outlived its owner's official status, weathered an era of scandal and obscurity, only to resurface at precisely the right moment to weave a new, wiser tale, a story of legacy, loyalty, and the indomitable power of family bonds. It embarked on its journey as a queen's gift, a symbol of acceptance into the world's most storied family. It once signified status, wealth, and standing. Yet, after enduring every trial, it transcended into something immeasurably greater. It evolved into a beacon of an unbreakable bond between a mother and her daughters, a silent promise kept against all odds. This is precisely why its story captivates us so profoundly. It reminds us that behind every magnificent jewel lies something far grander than mere design and carat weight. Behind it stand individuals, their destinies, their pivotal choices. The York Tiara has proven, though conceived as a symbol of royal status, its true immortality was forged when it became an emblem of familial love. For genuine treasures are not those that are never lost, but those that invariably find their way home.